Hey everyone, Harry here to talk about the Chief Justice of the United States, John Roberts, issuing a statement in clear opposition and pushback to Trump's intemperate, really much worse than that, call for the impeachment of a judge, the chief judge of the district court in D.C., based solely on his displeasure with a ruling, not even a ruling yet, but an obvious intention on Boasberg's part to exercise judicial review. Okay, we'll start actually with Boasberg because he is someone who, contrary to Trump and his allies in Congress, the portrait they want to draw, is extremely well respected on all sides. Head of the FISA court, which you're appointed to by the Chief Justice, long-term guy in the U.S. Attorney's Office, impeccable academic credentials and the like, and just known to be a really excellent judge. So in that sense, Trump has picked a fight with the wrong guy. But what has Boasberg done? He has simply received the motion to challenge Trump's use of the Alien Enemies Act to deport a couple hundred people, Venezuelans, back to actually El Salvador, where they're going to be and where they or already are housed in a really nasty maximum security prison. We all saw it happen. In fact, the administration touted it. These people all with shaved heads and having to crawl around. Now, of course, we don't know for certain that they all are members of this group. And even more strongly, as Boasberg himself said, in order to invoke the act, we either need to be at war with a foreign country, we're not at war, or there has to be some kind of aggressive insurgence by a foreign country. And the argument by the administration is that this transnational drug group either operate as a foreign country or are under the direction of Venezuela. It is a very large stretch from the only three invocations of the Alien Enemies Act in our history, namely the War of 1812, World War I, and World War II. So Trump, in the invocation in the first place, is way out there over his skis. And it seems like an obvious question a court has to address. And then in the hearings that Boasberg has held, Boasberg said, I want some information. I ordered you, and he did in an extraordinary Saturday night hearing, don't send these people. And if you've sent them, return the planes. And what he's pushing for now is information to find out whether the administration violated those orders. We'll come back to that in a different YouTube. But Trump goes berserk, but he's got very little to work with because, as I say, Boasberg is hugely respected. And Trump writes this radical left lunatic of a judge. Based on what? Nothing. A troublemaker and agitator. Based on what? Nothing. Who was, here we go, sadly appointed by Barack Hussein Obama. The Hussein inserted in clear demagogic McCarthy-esque fashion. He is railing against, and he actually says, this judge, like many of the crooked judges I am forced to appear before, should be impeached. In all caps, exclamation point. Okay. This is friggin' lunatic speak by a guy who is in equal measures unhinged and mad and completely indifferent to and lacking any understanding of how judicial review works. So what's happened here is Boasberg is looking at the claims. He hasn't decided on them yet. He's entered a temporary restraining order so they don't do it for a couple weeks. That's all that's happened. And he goes totally nuts and calls for impeachment. By the way, that's happened to 4 other judges, and since Trump has taken office for very respected ones, like Paul Engelmeyer in New York. I should say, I'm not name dropping here, but I know Boasberg and I know Engelmeyer and I know them well. And I'm just here to tell you they are completely respected, and the arguments that they're somehow radical lefties, not that it would matter if they have life tenure, but that radical lefties are completely trash and just done for populist and demagogic reasons. So you have this is a repeated play, and it drew a fast response from the Chief Justice, who issued a statement apropos of nothing, basically. So it's not like something as part of an opinion, not like something as an address to Congress or a hearing. He just says, for more than 2 centuries, it has been established that impeachment is not an appropriate response to disagreement concerning a judicial decision. The normal appellate process exists for that purpose. In Roberts and Chief Justice speak, this is a really forceful slapdown and of Trump. There's no doubt what it's directed to. And the whole point, of course, also goes to the general thrust of what Trump is trying to do, which is to say we shouldn't even have to listen to individual district court judges. And actually, on the contrary, that's the way the system works. There are 3 levels of federal judiciary, and there's ample avenues for relief. If you think a district court has gotten it wrong, you go up to the next level. So all these other statements that are of a piece with why should a single federal district court judge be able to tell us what to do? Well, because that's the way judicial review works. Somebody was standing, sued, and made a pretty good claim of a legal infirmity. Here's the most important point I want to emphasize. Robert's statement is extraordinarily rare. He is not the kind of guy, most Chief Justices aren't, but he in particular is not, who just inserts himself in the political fray and responds to a statement by a president. The threshold against doing that is way high, meaning he found these statements by Trump way, way high, and he felt he had to address them. That's an extraordinarily good development, it seems to me, and also, as I say, very noteworthy. We face 2 basic, the largest 2 risks we face in the country with Trump's authoritarian ways are, first and foremost, he simply ignore the courts. And that would be totally extreme. That would be the Hungary model. And then we really would be, fighting in the popular opposition and mustering all that could be mustered. But the second one, with this Supreme Court and the way they've ruled so far, is basically acquiescence in a power grab profound enough that would take us, in effect, to a place of authoritarianism. And the kinds of arguments that Trump is going to be making in the Supreme Court that basically are, when I say national security, everybody else has to shut up and not review me. If the Supreme Court endorses that kind of proposition, we are really hurting as far as the preservation of democratic rule in this country. And there are, let's face it, 3 or 4 votes for that kind of alarming legal expansion of power, which would be of a piece with the immunity decision. So even the question, it really comes down to, will Chief Justice Roberts and Amy Coney Barrett be on the side of the good guys here, the Constitution, judicial review, and the like? And the fact that Roberts issues this statement, to me, says he's really sees the stakes here. He understands the demagoguery that Trump is now trying to propound. And moreover, while it's his statement, there's no way that he issued it just on his own, woke up this morning and wrote it. His colleagues had to have been at a minimum informed before, and I think it's quite likely that many of them expressed support, though possibly not Alito, Thomas, and possibly not Gorsuch, and possibly not Kavanaugh. Nevertheless, it's a very good harbinger just in general for the point that 5 people on the court, if you put Amy Coney Barrett in with him, will understand the extreme stakes and distortion of the whole constitutional scheme that Trump is trying to achieve, and will have that in mind when inevitably big time portentous decisions come up to them. In that sense, it's a very good, not just the substance of it, but the fact that he issued it and the broader context that he's responding directly to all make this a really noteworthy, a really important, and without going too overboard on it, and an encouraging development from the Chief Justice. Talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.